2024 is panning out to be the best year I've ever had. I'm more fit than ever. I'm financially in a good position. I've truly just been in a great mood. What have I been doing differently? The first thing is I am more conscious with my time. I used to be so stressed out about all the things that I wanted to do, needed to do, and had to do. I was so flooded and so anxious about all these different things that I was going to do in my head, yet I still found the time to do absolutely nothing and just sit there on TikTok. I was letting time fly and I had no idea how to manage and organize my own time. So the first thing I realized was my time was precious and I shouldn't give it up so easily. And all those hours that I spent scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, it's obvious it was a waste of time, but I started to understand the gravity of how much time I was wasting and things that I could have been doing instead. The first thought that popped into my head was the fact that I would be in a much better position had I not wasted so much time. That's completely normal. Of course, everybody would be a lot further if they didn't waste time. So you need to be more conscious when you are wasting time, which means you need to be aware of what is wasting your time. Obviously, Instagram and TikTok are the biggest time wasters. You don't need to be scrolling for hours on end. And at this point, it's pretty common knowledge. All these huge social media companies spend billions of dollars to make sure that you spend as much time as possible on their platform. So you are quite literally being a slave to these platforms, which just kind of proves how valuable your own time is. If all of these companies are profiting from your time, start thinking of ways that you could utilize it better. I've always talked about how journaling was a huge help in my life, but a prompt that I started to write down was the biggest regrets that I did throughout the day. So the next day when I started getting into the habit of falling into these same traps, I was a little bit more self-conscious and realized I shouldn't be doing this. There are plenty of other things that I should be doing instead. Now, everybody's situation is different, so I can't tell you what you should be doing, but it should be fairly obvious to you what you could do with all the screen time that you could be saving throughout your day. The next thing that changed my life was actually rewarding myself, but only when I deserve so. Now look, it's no secret, I've always said that I am very dumb with my money. And honestly, to an extent, that is still very true. Back then, I wouldn't hesitate to buy anything that I wanted. Even if there was something that I wanted to do, there was no second thought. That is what I was doing throughout my day. No matter how unproductive it was, no matter how financially irresponsible it was, just because that's what I wanted, that's what I was going to do. But now I completely flip that around and I only get things when I feel like I deserve it. I force myself to sleep on certain decisions and I kind of realize, you know what? I don't really need this. I don't need to buy this, or I don't need to go to this certain place right now. But as I sleep on that decision, sometimes I still lean to the fact that I still want this. I only do it when I feel like I deserve it. So for me personally, when I deserve something is when I've been on track, doing the things that I need to do on a consistent basis, because rewarding yourself is good, but a lot of people like to reward themselves for doing the bare minimum. This isn't just to make yourself try to feel better and justify any rash decisions, but it's more so to get away from making those rash decisions in the first place. So now every single time I get invited out, I only say yes if I'm done with all my work for the day and I'm in a position where I can go out and I won't feel so guilty. Because that was my biggest issue. Every single time I would go out, I would feel incredibly guilty because I knew as soon as I get home, there are plenty of things that are waiting for me, so many deadlines that are coming up, and I have done nothing to get there. And all that stress was building up, so I couldn't even enjoy my time going out because I was so stressed about everything that I needed to be doing, yet I was still putting things off. But now that is a completely different story. Every time I go out, I enjoy my time because I know I handled all the responsibilities that I needed. I'm not putting myself in a bad financial position by going out and experiencing these things because I could afford to do so, because I'm in a great position. That is so relieving and it makes going out feel so much better, which makes me enjoy my time more. It's just like with anything. If you eat junk food every single day, it starts to get normal. So for example, something like cookies, which are obviously incredibly tasty, doesn't taste as good as it should because it's so normal to you. That's the way you should look at it when you're going out and doing the things that you want to. It is a lot less meaningful if you're doing it every single day, despite you knowing that you shouldn't, which all comes down to being more disciplined, which is the next thing I started to do that really changed my life. Because before, I truly had no discipline. I was never able to say no to myself or to others. And like I keep saying, I kept putting myself in really bad positions because I was so unable to say no. And honestly, that's a reason why I gained so much weight and I wasn't as lean as I normally was my entire life, because I wasn't able to say no to going out, eating every single day, which was fast food, different restaurants, or even just snacks and pastries, just because I couldn't even tell myself no. I was craving all these foods that are so bad for me, but I did not have the discipline to say no. I am more disciplined than ever. And despite me not wanting to do certain things, I still do it anyways because I know that's what's gonna benefit me in the long run, opposed to benefiting me for the next day or so. So sometimes I'll wake up and I don't want to go to bed. I just want to sleep 2 or 3 more hours, which is ridiculous. And it's something that I used to do a lot. But because now I'm more disciplined, I get up and I do the things that I need to do, which eventually has put me in a much better position financially. And now I am a lot more proud of everything that I'm doing. My physique is better than it's ever looked, and I'm still making progress because now I'm no longer satisfying my own needs, because the old me would have looked in the mirror, seen, hey, I made some good progress, I deserve to go out. And that one going out just turns into binging of a bunch of different restaurants, foods, and things that are ultimately hurting me in every single way. My physique, my wallet, and my own mental health. So sometimes you have to say no to all your closest friends when they invite you out. And most importantly, you have to say no to yourself when it comes to doing the things that are simple pleasures right now that are not doing anything for you long term. The next thing I started to do that really changed my life was self-care. Now trust me, I was one of those guys who thought self-care was just an excuse that a lot of girls told themselves to go out, get their nails done, do a bunch of feminine things. Trust me, I used to think that it was extremely corny. So whenever I heard one of my guy friends say that they're doing a self-care day or whatever, I used to think that that was way too feminine and I would never do something like that. Well, look at me now. I started doing that and it's made me feel a lot better. So let me get something clear. I am trying to build my stress tolerance. With that being said, pushing through stress is going to lead you to being burnt out. And there are some guys out there who are more than capable of taking on a bunch of stress without needing to unwind. I tried it, it's not for me. Sometimes I'll have a period of time where I just like to de-stress, clear my mind. That ultimately ends up being self-care. Now, by any means, does that mean that that's an excuse to lay in bed all day and do absolutely nothing? That is going to put you in a worse position. So as much as you don't want to hear it, scrolling through social media is not a way to de-stress. But going out for a walk or even just a light jog, journaling, and taking a day that's more restful rather than just intense work and physical exercise, take a day to relax. I like to go get massages. These are deep tissue massages, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, these are not relaxing at all, but once I'm done, then that's when it feels the best. On Instagram, if you ever see me post my back and there's a bunch of cup marks on there, that's exactly what I went to go do. Now, one thing that I did take from all my female friends was on these self-care days, do things to help your appearance, which means go get a haircut, get your eyebrows done. I personally would not go as far as getting my nails done, but if you're into that, then go do what you want to do. One thing that I did that was a huge mistake was retail therapy. I thought buying things might put me in a better mood. It's not. Any materialistic item will not put you in a better mood, will not put you in a better position. You have to start realizing that now. The next thing is doing things that I'm proud of. Like I said, I'm in the best position that I've ever been. I am proud of myself despite me not hitting certain goals that I was supposed to hit by this time of year. That is okay, because now I'm adjusting and I'm making sure that I'm gonna hit those goals later down the road. That being said, that doesn't mean that I'm any less proud of myself because I'm doing a lot of different things. The other day I went to go run 10 miles and it wasn't even that hard. I am very proud of that. When I'm at the gym working out and I look in the mirror, I'm pretty proud of my physique, which is a huge difference from last year. Because even when I was working out and I felt chubby because I wasn't as lean as I once was, as depressing as it sounds, I was not happy with who I was looking at when I looked in the mirror. But that's a complete 180 from today. I'm very happy with how I look. And you have to write all of these things down because it's easy to keep comparing yourself to other people who have everything that you want, who have all these materialistic items, or people who just downright have the lifestyle that you want to live. And because you're not where they want to be, or because you haven't even done the things that you need to do, does not mean that you're any less of a person. Just actively work on the things that you need to, and I promise you, you're gonna feel proud about yourself. And from personal experience, this is essential. It is so hard to sit down, be focused, and work on the things that you need to when you're so filled with anxiety and downright just self-hatred. I don't wanna hear any comments about this sounding too feminine, but you have to learn to be proud of yourself and honestly, just kind of love yourself. Now look, that's enough girl talk for today. All these things have downright changed my life, made me happier, and I promise you, it could do the same thing for you. That being said, there are some bad habits that you need to drop that will ultimately put you in a better position. And if you want to know all the bad habits that are slowly ruining your life, here's a video that's going to show you exactly that.